Woo, man, oh man, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back into Celtics Talk Weekly Post Game Live. I am your host, Rob Haytayan, joined with me are my three lovely co-hosts, Ian, Angelo, Franco, Justin Lowe. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, watching us live. The Celtics pick up a win. They get back in that win column in the preseason year with a 112-101 win against the Philadelphia 76ers on the road. Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser led the way after the halftime. Pritchard again. How about preseason P, guys? He had 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and a steal to go along. Sam Hauser's kind of bounce back night, rough shooting night the other night in Madison Square Garden. Tonight, he gave us 15 points on 4 of 9 from behind the arc. Obviously, we didn't see Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, but we did see the new guys, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. They looked good through one. Drew Holiday really caught a groove offensively. He had 11 in the first half. Porzingis as well. He also contributed 11. Justin, we'll start with you. What did you see tonight from the two new guys that you really liked?
Yeah, I really like the two-man game. I think it's interchangeable with Derek White and Kristaps. I really like how Drew and Kristaps work really well off of each other. Just really like what I saw. I think each of them played about 17 minutes tonight, so it was good to get the reps in. I know it's preseason. I know you want to see these guys healthy, but this is also kind of a different preseason for the Celtics in terms of, we have a lot of new guys on this team. So we know that their opportunities are going to come, but I liked what I saw in the first half from the new guys. I think Holiday looked way better than he did in his Celtics debut. Porzingis just looked comfortable. He had a very good start. So yeah, just keeping the consistency going with those guys.
Definitely. I'm very excited. I mean, Porzingis had me going early. That deep three that he hit had me going crazy. I mean, I don't know, man. If Porzingis can stay healthy throughout this whole season, which I think he can, he's going to be a huge part to this team. I can already tell. There's going to be nights where Tatum and Brown aren't going to have the best shooting nights, and Porzingis is just going to take over. I can already see that happening. I'm excited for that.
The other guys really tonight was like a showcase of if Brown and Tatum were to be out, it was a real showcase of the 4 other guys of our starting 6, we like to call it, with Derek White as the rotating 6-man with Al. But they really showed out first 5 minutes of the game. That starting lineup was firing on all cylinders. Al Horford looked comfortable out there with Kristaps. So those two as a tandem are going to be amazing next to Brown and Tatum. And also Derek White and Drew Holiday look unstoppable in the backcourt as a defensive tandem as well. So you really have 3 dynamic duos in Boston all on one team with those 6.
I think it was pretty nice to kind of see Drew creating offense in different type of ways. He was getting to the basket really easily. He was pulling up from 3. I think tonight was kind of just a little showcase of how good this offense and defense can be. Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are on another level from what we saw offensively from Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. I think that's really where you're going to see this team take a jump. And it may not show up in the numbers category, but it will show up to the naked eye when you're watching the games. And I think that is what's going to be so fun about this team. I loved the point Ian made. There's going to be nights where Tatum and Brown don't have it going. You still got 2 guys in Holiday and Porzingis who can get you 40 on any given night. We saw Holiday do it against the Celtics last year. It can happen, and it will happen at some point. So, yeah, and Porzingis. So they both did it to us at some point. I really like that. However, that brings us into the player of the game. Yet again, it feels like a familiar name. How about Peyton Pritchard? As I said, preseason Pete. This guy has been on a tear through 3 games. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard agreed to a 4-year, $30 million contract extension earlier this week with the Boston Celtics. He is now inked up for 5 more total seasons. But how about this? First game against the Philadelphia 76ers, we saw him come out in 26-point masterclass of a game at home. He put the nail in the coffin there late in the fourth quarter. Justin, Ian, and I were in attendance there. That was a hell of a performance. Then he followed it up. Yet again, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals on the road in Madison Square Garden without the starters. And unfortunately, a Celtics loss. We didn't see Pritchard in that fourth quarter. And how about this tonight? 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and a steal to go along with 3 3-pointers. Guys, Peyton Pritchard is just playing on another level right now offensively. Can he sustain this? Is this a Pritchard we're going to be seeing in terms of efficiency? Because he's scoring a lot and not a lot of minutes played.
Yeah, I think what is so important about Peyton Pritchard is that you're seeing consistency, right? And I think that's something that's really important and something that shouldn't go unnoticed. Because when you get a guy like Peyton Pritchard, who's his opportunities been in, his opportunities been out. There's nights where he doesn't play at all. There's nights where he gets a whole load of minutes. I think it's very important for this preseason that Peyton Pritchard stays consistent, and he's done just that. And I think what was impressive tonight was Peyton Pritchard wasn't the guy tonight. He still had a great game, but he wasn't the guy, right? Drew Holiday, Derek White played a lot in the first half. They played 17 minutes in the first half. Peyton Pritchard played kind of a normal role where he's going to be playing in the regular season, right? Coming off the bench behind Drew Holiday, behind Derek White. And I think he played that role very well. I don't think he was forcing his shots. I do think he was feeling it a little bit, but why not when you're preseason P, when you're extension P, as I like to call him. But he's worth every damn penny if he's going to continue to play like this throughout the course of an 82-game season. Plus, you're going to need him big come playoff time, especially, you don't know when injuries, you don't know what goes on. But what I like right now, we're sitting here in October. I love what I've seen from Peyton Pritchard these last 3 games, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well just rename the Player of the Game award to the Peyton Pritchard Award because it's just been every game he's just put on a show. And the thing that's been so different this time around with Peyton Pritchard than it has been in previous years, his decision making has been so much better than it was in the past. I mean, he was throwing lobs to Keita. He was finding the right pass to Hauser. I mean, him and Hauser were pretty much just going back and forth in that third quarter, just draining threes from, like, God knows how far away. And I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see because I hope he can continue this. Obviously, there's going to be times where the shot's not going to fall. I'm just excited to see the growth in him because it feels like this is the first time since maybe his rookie year he's actually going to get legitimate playing time. Right. And even in his rookie year, he didn't get that much legitimate playing time. But when he did, he looked really good. So I'm excited to see what he does. And the thing that was also different is the fact that he looked like he took over the second unit in the game. Like he was out there with Holiday and White and Porzingis and them, and he did good there. But once he was with the other bench guys, he absolutely took over. Like it was his show.
Yeah, watching him tonight, he had the most minutes tonight. It's the preseason, so the preseason is going to allow him to shine in moments like this and have the matchups that he likes with the second rotation players, and it shows what he's going to be able to do off the bench for us this year. He was also the most shots tonight by 6 shots, and I think the second closest was Hauser with 9. He had 15. So they are really giving him the green light to shine, and he's become an offensive playmaker as well, as Ian shined upon. He's going to make those opportunities show, and we're going to be chanting his name a lot when it comes down to the 6th Man of the Year award.
So you're saying 6th Man of the Year? It's a bold take from you, Franco. I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. I think what really I'm impressed with Pritchard is the fact that he hasn't given up, right? Like there's been so many times where you could think a player like Peyton Pritchard could give up. I don't think he's requested a trade, but he's kind of formally requested a trade. He's expressed his he wants a bigger opportunity, whether that's here in Boston or elsewhere. He's been able to stay to it. Stay in the gym, work his ass off, and it's showing this preseason. It really is, and I can't wait to see him in the regular season because I mean, getting that $30 million bag, a lot of players can just relax their shoulders. Peyton Pritchard is using that as an excuse to make sure that he knows that everybody knows that he's worth that $30 million.
It's kind of given me Robert Williams vibes when we extended Rob. We extended him in a time where his role really wasn't. We kind of saw him in and out of the lineup, and he was there for the bubble year, but he was playing that backup big man role behind Tice and Enes Kanter, and then we kind of saw him after that, and we extended him. And everyone's kind of thinking to themselves, "Ooh, $50 million for a guy that we don't really see a lot of." It's kind of giving me that vibe where it's. Brad knew when to strike. He knew he opened up a roster spot. And I said this on last post-game show. Offensively, Malcolm Brogdon was phenomenal, right? But what Peyton Pritchard's showing us right now is in terms of playmaking and scoring, he can kind of be a budget Malcolm Brogdon. I don't want to be disrespectful by saying budget, but the budget is cheaper that we're paying him. And that's something that I think is exciting as Celtics fans, because obviously losing Brogdon, I think, hurt the depth a little bit, where it was like, oh, that the Brogdon, you didn't really replace a guy like he was kind of the odd man out in the trade. You replaced Smart, you replaced Robert Williams, but Brogdon was kind of the one to go. But now you're sitting here October 11th on a Wednesday night at 9:41. You're thinking to yourself, oh, maybe we just got our guy. Maybe Peyton Pritchard can be that spark plug off the bench. Obviously, starting lineup, I don't know where we're going to go. You'd assume Holiday starts. The broadcast was saying that you start Drew Holiday. And then Porzingis and Brandon Tatum are going to start. I don't know if we're going to go Horford or White, but whoever it may be, Pritchard will be the second man off the bench, I think, alongside White and Horford. And then obviously you might see Hauser or Brissett check in, or maybe Svi, who we'll talk about. So I think it is really, really exciting to see Peyton Pritchard ball out, because he kind of was in a position in which we didn't know if we're going to have a lot of depth. We knew we were going to be top heavy at that point guard spot. But we didn't know if Pritchard, what he was going to give us.
I think it's going to be matchup based with the starting lineups from team to team, from day to day. It's going to change. And I think we'll see a lot of different mix ups, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah. And here's my problem with that, because I also heard Scal talking about this. And I understand that it's just like, last year, the Celtics didn't have any fluke. Like, they had no consistency in the end game lineup, who finishes the game. And I think you saw a lot of struggles with ending games, because it was different. Sometimes it was White and it was Smart, and sometimes it was Brogdon and White, and sometimes it was Smart and Brogdon, and sometimes it was Robin Allen. So it was just like constantly changing. And I get it. It can't be the same closers every game, but you got to, for the majority of the games, it has to be the same closers. And I think it's kind of like that in the starting lineup. It's like you want those five guys really in sync for the first 6 minutes. So it's like, I wouldn't totally be opposed to a different starting lineup and going matchup based, but it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's like, are we going to see those same problems where it's like the first 6 minutes is just can't get in sync because you got new guys shifting in and out of the rotation? You know what I'm saying?
We'll see. Yeah. There's also going to be the thing, because Al Horford's not going to play back-to-backs. So
right.
There's always going to be lineup switches no matter what this year, mostly because of that. So, and I mean, I assume Kristaps Porzingis isn't going to play every game. Brown and Tatum might not play every game. Holiday, White might not play every game. So I feel like there's always going to be like lineup differences as the year goes on. Hopefully not due to injury, but I feel like it's just, I mean, I don't know. We're just going to have to see the ebbs and flows of the season. Honestly, as much as I didn't like the idea after the first preseason game, the idea of Drew Holiday coming off the bench wasn't too terrible of an idea. I don't think it's going to happen, but like thinking about it more, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I feel like it could be an okay lineup. I feel like he wouldn't play, with the second unit or anything, but first guy coming in is Drew Holiday replacing Derek White or replacing Al Horford.
These are good problems to have, and we've talked about this on the podcast for the last month. Like these are tremendous problems to have, figuring out which lineups work and what players can play off of each other. And that's another beauty of the preseason, right? You get these opportunities you don't really necessarily have to go out there and you're not playing to win, right? You're playing to improve, and you're playing to kind of, like you said, Ian, go through the ebbs and flows and figure out what works and what doesn't. That's why you saw 17 minutes out of the starters tonight, not 35 in the regular season. You like to see those bench guys as well. But, I think it was really important going back to the whole Peyton Pritchard thing. Seeing a guy like Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench tonight behind Drew Holiday, behind Derek White, that's reality, right? Like we're going to see that actually in the regular season. So to see a guy like Pritchard do that off the bench is good. I don't know where you're about to take this show, Rob, but I do want to give big props to Sam Hauser continuing to stay with his jump shot, getting a lot of great open looks. Had a really, really, really rough start to the preseason, the first 2 games, but he looked phenomenal tonight. That's your guy, Rob, so I just wanted to give him a little shout out.
Yeah, you know I'm always on the Hauser train. He got his shot back. He's getting the looks. Even in that we talked about it on the Knicks game after the game. I asked you actually, are you concerned? And you said absolutely not. The looks were there. Sam's a shooter, and shooters shoot. Sometimes you have great shooting nights. There'll be nights where Hauser goes 5 of 5 or 6 of 6 from 3, and there's going to be nights where he goes 1 of 6, 1 of 7. It's part of being a shooter, right? It's the ups and downs, but you know I'm excited for Hauser this year because I've been on Hauser since Maine. Hauser's been my guy, so you know I've been loving some Sam Hauser. But this is something I do want to talk about again, and I think something tells me that on the night of October 17th against the home game against the Knicks, we're going to be sitting back here talking about this same guy and this same problem, Luke Cornett. Yes, Cornett has really unimpressed me.
Let's start out. He's a great guy.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
He's a great guy.
Yeah,
phenomenal vibes guy.
Huge vibes guy. Huge vibes.
You just have to start out with something positive before.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to bash the guy. He's too good of a guy.
Compliment sandwich.
Yeah, but at the same time, he sucks. Oh, and I'm sorry, but he has sucked. He doesn't suck, but he sucks right now. He just isn't what the Celtics need, is a nicer way to put it. Luke is defensively.
Cornett contests.
I mean, defensively, he can't.
Hey, he closed out a couple of times.
I mean,
today.
It's just. I'm sorry, but
shooters today.
Like, he hasn't been a great rebounder. He hasn't been a great defender, and that's the 2 areas that Boston needs to a backup big man that does rebounding and interior defense. I said this, guys like JaVale McGee have stayed in the league for so long because they can play backup big man minutes, get you 7 rebounds, block 2 shots, and get you 3 key fouls. And that's what the Celtics need. And it's a do or die year for this team. You put too much on the line, and I think to run into the season with Luke Cornett, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I agree with you, but like I agree with you 110%. I really like what I saw out of Keita. I'm sure we'll talk about him a little later on in the show, but I mean, he's just so much better than Luke Cornett. I saw him grab 1 rebound, and I was like, "Yep, keep him in the game." Like that's how much it took me to be persuaded into not playing Luke Cornett. I mean, like it sucks because I'm a big Luke Cornett fan. He's a great guy. He's hilarious. But maybe if there's a way where we could, you don't got to get rid of him.
Just don't play him. You don't have to trade him.
I mean, do you want him to waste a roster spot? I don't know. Maybe
I don't know if Luke's a waste though, because he's a glue guy, but he just shouldn't be in the ball.
That's what I'm saying.
He can play. He can play the Blake Griffin role.
Can you trade contracts with Keita, like maybe 2-way Luke and standardize Keita? Because that you could 2-way Luke is not crazy, bro. He was a 2-way player 2 years ago. Man. But I mean,
last year,
I just
came in as a 2-way player.
Was he last year?
Yeah, came in as a 2-way.
But I mean, I don't know, man. Luke Cornett is not the guy for me. I love him as a personality guy. Don't love him on the court.
Yeah.
This year's 07 scale.
No, Scal provided more, I think. Scal 100% provided more on the court than Luke Cornett.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you. What persuaded me to pick Keita over Luke Cornett was the one play where Keita asked for the ball. He shot the elbow floater. He missed it, but he still got free throws. That's something Luke Cornett has never done as his time with the Celtics. He's never demanded the ball and actually tried to shoot or make a play. So that was one thing that I liked about Keita over Cornett. And it does suck because Cornett, it feels like he's been the glue guy. Every team needs a guy like that who's just going to be, a vibes guy who may not always play all the time or be the best
Right.
player. But it does kind of suck because we've seen guys. I think even Wenyan Gabriel had a better game tonight than Luke Cornett did.
Yeah, he did.
So it's kind of tough when you see multiple guys coming in who are playing better, who have a better skill set that the Celtics need. And it sucks to put Luke Cornett in that situation, but
Right.
it just kind of happens.
I mean, here's
You
my
need to look out for
problem.
your team.
The Celtics have 4 rostered big men. One of them's Wenyan Gabriel, and he's getting cut most likely. So you're going to roll into the year with 3 rostered big men, and one of them is Luke Cornett, and the other is Porzingis, whose health is questionable, right? We don't know. He had a great health year last year. You just don't know what you're going to get. And the other one's a 36-year-old Al Horford that doesn't play back-to-backs.
Right.
I mean, that's a real problem. Like, the talent's there, right? On a night in which that Horford and Porzingis can play, you don't have a problem. But the problem is that there could be many nights this year. I mean, the Celtics, have 11 back-to-backs this season? That's at least 11 games in which Luke Cornett is playing the backup big man. And that's like 20 minutes a game. And that's a real weakness that we have. I mean, what if it's Milwaukee? What if you have Milwaukee on the second night of a back-to-back? And then Al can't play the first one. So what if we, what if we go to the Knicks into Milwaukee? It's just like, it really is a handicap that we're playing with. And again, this season, there is too much on the line to have a problem like that. You need to address it. And I'm praying that Brad Stevens has noticed it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a bad problem to have, in my opinion.
One more thing before you say anything, Franco. I feel like Brad Stevens is too smart to put his love for Luke Cornett over the betterment of the team. We all know the one tweet that Brad Stevens has ever liked was the Luke Cornett highlight video, but I feel like he's too smart to put the love of Luke Cornett over the fact that the Celtics need big men depth desperately.
I mean, Brad's shown that he's not afraid to rip the heart out of the city. I mean, smart. Grant was a core guy or a vibes guy as well, with a little bit more defensive and offensive added more to the team. But I think that he's not afraid to make those moves that will shake up the chemistry, but will get the team in a better place on the basketball court.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see.
I think with Keita, though, you just get more physicality, and that to me, that's why I'm
athleticism.
Much more athletic.
Well, he was playing legit minutes with the Kings last year too. So
was he really?
He was.
He was.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think he was like their third center because they had Sabonis and Alex Len.
Yeah,
and Len would be nice. I'd like Alex Len. See, here's the problem. It's like obviously his offseason was just so distracted, right? Something like this can go under the radar. So it really, where do you go now? Obviously, I'd like Blake Griffin, but again, it's like Blake.
He's like halfway to retirement.
He's
now,
not.
too,
Yeah, so. He's halfway from retirement. Don't be careful with your words here.
That's why I said retirement. That's why I said halfway.
But it's like he's a smaller big man, right? He's a decent rebounder, but he's not really looking what the Celtics are looking for. Someone like Dwight Howard, maybe, but again, he's been out of the league for a year, so it's just like it feels like a problem that has to be solved using the Grant Williams TPE. And I think it will come at the midseason at the deadline, if you want my best prediction, because I don't see Cornett getting cut, because if you cut Cornett, then you only have, unless Keita gets that 2-way deal put to a main contract, which I'd love. But still, it's just the depth isn't there to cut a big man right now. So you ask me, what's my prediction? Celtics move someone at the deadline. You move a pick into the TPE to bring in a guy like someone from like a team like Toronto or maybe Chicago, a team that probably needs to. That the deadline is where they decide what direction their season's going. They're a selling team. So I think that is what happens with Luke Cornett in the back man, the back man, the backup big man position. Oh my God. Talk about a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, we've seen trades because like Brad Stevens still has a whole bunch of picks. We've seen trades last year at the deadline where like 5 second-round picks is like the equivalent of like a first-round pick. So like, well, no, there was like 3 or 4 deals last year that were one guy for like 5 second-round picks or something
right.
like
And we
that. So,
stockpiled those second-round picks.
exactly. So I could see Brad Stevens making a move for a big man like that. You could get a guy like JaVale McGee, maybe. I can't
Andre
really think of a
Drummond,
whole.
but
I'm not a big Drummond guy.
Yeah, no.
I like Isaiah Stewart
No.
I
out
love
of
Isaiah Stewart. I don't know if you can get
Detroit,
him,
but
though.
I don't think we can get him. I mean, Detroit's gonna have a big man problem too because they got James
much.
Wiseman and Marvin Bagley fighting for the last spot on the roster.
But that's a good
so-
big man problem to have.
With
We have a
Durant-
bad. They have a
with
good big man
Durant
Well,
problem.
no,
we have a
no.
bad
So,
big man problem.
well, no. What I'm thinking is for the Pistons because you have Duran, Stewart, Bagley, and Wiseman. So if they're
And
looking
Durant's
to move
starting.
off,
That guy's a
Durant's
dog.
starting. So if they're moving off of somebody, maybe that's a thing that
Right.
the Celtics can look into. I mean, I don't know if James Wiseman is that much better than
I'd go
Luke Barnett.
Bagley.
I mean, obviously, but Bagley's been really good compared to Wiseman in this preseason for Detroit. So,
Well, maybe they
is
do offload
Wiseman-
Stewart. Maybe they do offload Stewart.
Who's Portland's backup?
Rob,
Robert Williams.
You should go for him.
I
You
think
should
oh
go
no,
for him.
is it Drew Eubanks? I think it's
Yeah, I
Drew
think it's
Eubanks.
Drew Eubanks.
You shouldn't go for him. But I mean, like sitting here and I'm just thinking we just went an entire show without mentioning this Svi Mikhailuk game, and I just think
We'll get
Svi
there.
is just dude. Svi is awesome. I just love that pickup. Remember,
MSVV.
he's on
MVP. MSVP.
he's on the vet minimum deal, by the way. Brad Stevens, like, congratulations on that pickup. That's huge. But I mean, Svi's another one of those guys where like he's just consistently knocked down shots. He's another Sam Hauser. I think he's pretty athletic. He's catching lobs. I didn't think he could do that. I was a little bit taken back by that, but I like Svi.
That's a
You'll never guess who the backup big man is on Portland now that I found out. Moses Brown.
I
Oh,
said that earlier. Yeah, I think.
Moses Brown. Jesus.
So, Ian, just to go back to the Svi point, I've been surprised because he had a weird stat line when we traded. Again, I wasn't. I didn't know I knew the name, but I didn't really wasn't familiar
with your
the
game.
game.
He wasn't educated.
Right? But he averaged like 11 points with 20 games played, and I was kind of like, well, hold on, why? That doesn't correlate with injury. So it's like, he's a bucket getter. And you know who he kind of reminds me of is Evan Fournier, and he's not making $70 million.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's like, no, again, it's like you can kind of see like the things Boston's tried. It kind of like you can pull and plug guys that they've tried in the past who we have on this team just making a lot less money. I mean, Lamar Stevens is eerily similar to Grant Williams, body type and play style wise, and I mean, O'Shea Brissett is like these guys draw similarities, right? Like Marcus, a guy like kind of smart, where he's just kind of a hustle guy. Yeah, he's just a dog. So I mean, I think that is a positive sign from this team is the depth and we're kind of got guys on cheap deals and they're going to contribute, and you got a bunch of different ways you can go. So it's exciting, man. I'm excited. It sucks we have 5 days off before our next game.
That's stupid. There's an all-star break in the middle of freaking preseason.
And we were playing a back-to-back in preseason. I wasn't here for last show, but I wanted to say that playing a back-to-back in preseason is so stupid.
Well, I was confused why Brown and Tatum didn't play tonight because they would have had 5 days. I don't know.
I said in the group chat.
Yeah, but we'll see. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining in and watching us here live at Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. Celtics pick up a little preseason win here, 112-101. Peyton Pritchard was your player of the game. He had 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, guys, before we close off the show.
Where's Jack?
That's a
Jack
good question.
said he was going to be here. Where's Jack?
No, he's
Jack.
not.
We're laying you off, dude. We're laying him off. He's done.
Guys, the Celtics will take on the New York Knicks Tuesday, October 17th. That will be at 7:30. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Boston. And then after the final buzzer sounds, head right back over here to the Celtics Talk Weekly YouTube account to watch the post-game show. I'm Rob. Next to me is Ian. Below me, Franco. And right next to Franco is my man, Justin. Thank you so much for tuning